Okay, so is there potential the Scarlet Witch could be set up as the next big phase villain? That's been something a lot of people have been discussing because of the way they're positioning her to be so important.
That's a really interesting one, because depending on the different adaptations and that you've seen of hers, she has been a villain, but she also has been a good person, more that weird vigilante kind of character.
She's never struck me as somebody that could go, oh, I'm a hero, I'm a villain. It's like always in the middle. And I mean, the villain argument, she literally messed up the entire universe to bend it to her will. So,
but it's really interesting when it though comes to her, because she's not doing it in a vicious way.
Yeah, it's a selfish way, I would say.
It's a selfish way. So I can't see her being a villain per se, but I can see her being a major factor. The fact that not only her TV show, but Multiverse of Madness is because of her.
Well, that's the thing that gets me, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people are starting to get on this train of she's the villain, because her series is an alternate reality where Elizabeth Olsen just even recently said, this is the first time we're going to see the Scarlet Witch, which to me sounds like it's maybe a manifestation, like something like almost like rises from inside of her, kind of like the Phoenix, because the Phoenix in the X-Men has been ripping off Scarlet Witch since X-Men 3. So to me sounds like maybe that's what's going to do. She snaps, messes up reality, Doctor Strange has to come in, they start fixing it, and maybe Scarlet Witch does end up being some sort of smaller Avengers scale villain where they're like, we need to unite the Avengers again and bring her back, because if we don't, reality is going to fold on itself. Right.
I can actually see that being a thing, because she got her powers because of the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone is no longer around, so there could be a potential that because that stone is no longer in existence, she cannot control herself, because we actually don't really have that much like information on her after the stones have been snapped.
We don't have much information on her Vision at all. Like, they've been lacking screen time and development, which this show is going to deliver that. And again, we've talked about this on the podcast before. There's definitely a hint that these stones are sentient, like that they can almost communicate to each other like in the comics. So I think there is the possibility that you're going to play with that, because if you look at that promo art, if you look at Vision, his shadow has the missing hole. Again, that was a stone. I think both of those are going to come into play, because they've said the stones might be gone, but we're not done with them.
Yeah.
Like, they're not done exploring, because they got to have ramifications, because those things were the first things created when the universe was built.
Yeah, so...
like, you know?
So that definitely makes me think then that she's going to have like a split personality, not the disorder itself. It's actually she is two people in one body. Wanda, who has all of her tragedies and everything and who's been the dominant person, but once she snaps and once the stone is no longer there, maybe the stone created that entity within her. If it is, especially if it is sentient, any being that understands life and death, the one thing they always want to do is live.
And not even that. Remember, all the way back to Doctor Strange, and every time he's used a time stone, they said there will be consequences.
Yeah.
She was directly, like, takes out Vision herself, has a mental breakdown, it gets rewound, she still remembers that, loses him, she's still there, and it's all due to time manipulation, while also a destruction of a stone is happening. Like, multiple stones were in use at the same time, fudging reality at that one moment in Infinity War. So I think the way they are setting it up is she will be a threat. She definitely is, because if Doctor Strange has to show up, you're like, what have you done?
Yeah.
This tells you the level of her power is something that even Strange is like, wow.
And obviously she doesn't know the level of her power, because every time you watch her and she uses like a massive amount of her power, she kind of does the...
I mean...
I just did that.
In Civil War, when Vision is trying to stop her and Clint...
Yeah.
Vision goes like to the subatomic level of Earth. She's just like pounding them into the Earth, and she's like, oh, okay, and take a hike. Like, she could have left that facility if she wanted to without a problem. Like, there's nothing to stop her. Not even Vision can stop her. And he is literally the most powerful Avenger because he can phase and you can't touch him. And like, not even Captain Marvel could touch him. So that argument, you know, it's like, I think there is something to her being a sort of villain. And if you do, let's say, go down that route where they go after her and then they pull her back and they're like, okay, but maybe there is fragments of that they have to deal with. Like I said, you could do the whole thing where, okay, yes, the Avengers have been disbanded, but you have to realize what you've done. Bring back everybody. You know, there's Wanda and everything. Here's how everything is shaping up. Because I think the multiverse film is sort of going to be our first look into the insanity that the MCU is about to become.
Yeah,
because
it really is.
The potential of everything in the multiverse is limitless. Like, there is no reason they can't be like, yeah, the Scarlet Witch is just, I don't know, from another universe, and she embodies Wanda or something. Like, they could really play up some insane elements that not even the comics have explored, so...
And then that makes it so that you're at least doing your own thing. Because if you look at every single one of the characters we have right now, what character can you name is 100% from the comics? None of them. No. Because of the fact that, one, some of them were legal rights that they couldn't explain their story, so they
Scarlet Witch.
Exactly, Scarlet Witch. But other ones, it's like, let's take the best of both worlds, or multiple different worlds, and create this character to be able to fit. And the way that the MCU and everything else is going, they have to step away from the comic and look at the world that they're building, because it is very different. And then the comics can just do what they've been doing, which is like, hey, you know what? We actually really liked how the MCU did this. We're going to now
we'll borrow an element of that and retcon stuff, which is honestly what they do. So when I look at Wanda, for example, let's talk about WandaVision for a second, how this could play out if this turns out to be true. So we know it's a 50s style sitcom as it starts out with, and then they both said gets really twisty turny and goes in unexpected directions.
They've clearly stated that this is a film you've never seen before in the MCU. Like what is that even? It's gonna be really interesting to see that aspect of it. And then we know Doctor Strange will at least be in the last episode to set up them journeying away into the multiverse of madness. And then right around that time as well, we have Loki, which Loki is tying into that because he's in the multiverse. And then as a result of all of that, right after that Doctor Strange film is Marvel's What If. Again, this has all got to be connected with the multiverse, because the What If is like, we're probably going to get glimpses of that, and then it's going to get explored with the What If. So, I mean, I don't want to say she'll be a villain, but her cause and effect in the MCU is going to ripple through everything. It's going to change the MCU forever. Yeah, it's going to be very reminiscent of Civil War, how they all took her as a threat. Okay, not everybody did, but they sat there and they're like, your power cannot be controlled. Even, like, you can't control it. So they sat there and they locked her up without telling her. So there's a lot of ways that she could become the villain. I just think it's going to more be it's going to be the repercussion of her emotional state that is going to cause all this pain and anguish to everyone else. And then
here's the factor that I think is going to happen that's going to mess her up even more.
Her brother's coming back.
He's coming back, and she's going to lose him again, because she has to leave him in this pigmented world she built for herself. So we're going to see Quicksilver again get off, then it's probably going to be even more brutal. And
it won't be a saving. It'll be to save her.
To save her, exactly. It'll be a sacrifice. So you know that's got to happen, because in her perfect world, there's no way she doesn't bring her brother back. And I'm excited because Johnson is a great actor, and I wanted to see him come back as Quicksilver. So
I think he still had
he had 2 contracts. He was 3 movies. That was his thing. And it hasn't been the 5-year hold, has it? No, Age of Ultron 2015, I think.
So next year is
sort of coming up on it, so they can bring him back if they want. But overall, I'm really excited by this. If she ends up being a villain, I'm in. If she just ends up being a minor threat that messes up everything, again, I'm in.
A major threat.
Or a major, sure.
I can see her being a major threat, the fact that they're going to be dedicating basically Doctor Strange in this movie to it.
That, and also Kevin Feige said, after Thanos, the threat is going to be more personal. So what's more personal than an Avenger going insane and messing everything up. It makes sense, right?
Yeah, especially because Cap decided to have his perfect life. Everyone else decided to kind of move on and have their own lives.
Why can't she have a perfect life when everybody else does?
Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll see how it plays out, but hopefully it's good. I trust it will be.
Oh yeah.
I trust it will be.